Okay, we can start the session. Thank you everyone for joining. And in today's class, we are going to learn about Scrum Master course. This is a beginner's course. Okay, so this is a very basic beginner's course who don't have any experience on the Scrum Master jobs and also I'm going to give a high level overview of um, who's a Scrum Master, what are the different like methodologies we use in software development, and what are the roles and responsibilities of a Scrum Master. So this is the curriculum. We're going to learn about what are the Scrum ceremonies, what are the tools used by Scrum Master, and finally how to do Scrum certification and how to get a job. Okay, let's begin. First is like uh, many people don't know like who is a Scrum Master. Like people who are outside of software industry, right? For example, you are from non-IT background and you want to get into IT and you don't know like actually what is a Scrum Master job. So I'm going to give you an example of like how IT works. So basic understanding of IT. This is for non-IT people. Can you see my Word document that I'm like moving around the screen?
Yes, Pratibha.
Okay. So I'm going to type little notes so that you can see simultaneously. So first in IT, right? So when we take software development, if you want to develop any kind of software, um, we have like different roles and responsibilities. Like when CTS or TCS they hire you for a particular team. So that team will have a developer. Okay, they'll have a developer. Also, that team will have a tester. The team will have a business analyst. Okay, and also that team will have a project manager, right? So these are all like mandatory, they're going to have anyway. But when if that project is going to be an agile methodology project, okay, I'll explain in detail what is agile methodology. If that project is going to be working in an agile fashion, and especially in a scrum fashion, okay, we saw it as scrum. In agile we have like many type of agile, like for example kanban, scrum. I'll talk about that in detail. But if your project is going to be agile and especially scrum methodology, then only we need a scrum master. Not all the projects will have a scrum master, that you have to like understand. If the project whatever that you're going to be hired for is an agile project, also it is a scrum project, only then this scrum master is necessary. Okay, otherwise there will be no scrum master. If it is a waterfall methodology, okay, there is no scrum master. So what the scrum master will do is like basically the scrum master has to coordinate with everybody in the team. Okay, so this developers, testers, business analyst, manager. So mostly like communication with everybody. Okay, also like they will be using a tool called Jira. That also I will show how to use that tool. So mostly Scrum Master will be managing this tool. So he will be the admin of this Jira tool, okay, where all the user stories, all the tasks, and all the epics, everything needs to be maintained by the Scrum Master. So mostly Jira administration, and also mostly like communicating inside the team, also outside the team. For example, like there is a tight deadline and the business is not providing any testing, UAD testing. So if there are any blockers also, that person has to remove. And also he will be like one who has to like every day there will be like stand up meetings, sprint planning meetings, retro meetings. Okay, I will discuss in detail what are these meetings. So he'll be the one who will be conducting all these meetings, every day stand up calls, and monthly ones or weekly ones, this retro call, sprint planning maybe weekly ones. So all these calls, this scrum master is the person who will be facilitating. So overall this is not like a team leader. So in India we say it as a team leader and all that, but in US or in most of the on-site, right, there is nobody called a team leader. But he's that you're not reporting to a scrum master. Okay, you are reporting to a manager, but he is like overall like handling overall like how that how many stories you have to do, what is the like every day whether the developer has finished their task and everything. So overall maintenance he'll be doing. Okay, so that is a scrum master. So for example, every team will have only one scrum master. Okay, like for example, you can have 10 developers, testers, 10 business analysts. But Scrum Master, there will be only like one Scrum Master for every project. That you have to keep in mind. Now you have to know the basics of what is Agile and waterfall. So what is Agile and what is waterfall? Without knowing this, like you cannot clear the interview, because it's very important for a Scrum Master to understand all these kind of methodologies. So a client is coming to your team and they're like telling me like, can you please develop a software for our, let's say they are a mobile company. Okay. They're a mobile company and they want to develop some kind of software for that company. Okay. They're coming to you because you are basically you're working for, let's say you're working for Deloitte. Okay. So they're coming to Deloitte and they're telling that we need a special software for our company. Now, earlier, like before like 15 years, everything used to be waterfall. So you gather requirements. Once you gather requirements from this mobile company, the architect will do all the design. So for gathering the requirements, it will take like 1 or 2 months. Then like architect will do the design maybe in a week. Then they will be doing all the testing and development and testing. That will take about 2 to 3 months. Then they will do implementation. And finally, once the product goes live, once this application or the software goes live into the market, only then after that we will do maintenance. So this is like a standard process. So it's like first you gather the requirements and then you do design and then you do like development and then testing and then implementation and then maintenance. Okay, this is like one way. That is waterfall, like how water falls, right? Just one way. Water cannot go up. Okay, it's just one way, just falling down. Okay, that is waterfall. That is the meaning of waterfall. You cannot do the reverse because it is like falling down. Okay, keep that in mind. Whereas in Agile methodology, it's not like that. Every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, you have to show something to the end product. So, for example, it is iterative. Iterative means we are doing development in small portions. So, small portions in the sense, like, for example, so what do? We like divide the components of the software into like small portions. For example, front page or like the landing page. Okay, let's say that it's a mobile company, they need some software, there will be a landing page for the software, right? So that landing page needs to be developed first, and then one second. That landing first, the landing page needs to be developed, and then like following pages needs to. So one by one. So what will happen is they have to like develop and then test only like using like small portions. First the front page, and then the second navigating to the second page, and then to the third page. And they will be releasing this into like in the test environment in 2 weeks or 3 weeks sprint. So we call in Scrum we call it as sprints. Okay, sprint. So sprints can be it can be in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Okay, so if your team is using 2 week sprint, it depends totally on your team whether your team is using 2 week sprint or 3 week sprint or 4 week sprint. If your team is using 2 week sprint, then in that case, every 2 weeks you have to develop, you have to test, you have to do deployment, everything for that small application. Like for example, the very first page of the software, something like that, you will be doing it in 2 weeks itself. You will do the testing, everything you will deploy. Okay, and then the next page you will do it in the next sprint. So we are doing everything in small portions. Why? Because for this kind of waterfall, you have to wait for like 6 months to see the final product. By the time you see the final product in UAT environment or in production, the designer or the requirements would have changed actually. So because after 6 months, something new, the competitor is like publishing something new. Now, like our client wants something new. Okay, they're going to keep changing the requirements because they see that in 6 months, everything in the industry is going to change. For this very competitive industry, so the softwares are like updating every day. Competitor softwares are like everything. We will never know when they're releasing some new feature, right? So you give a design, you want a requirement, the client wants something. After 6 months, they want something different. So it is a big headache for IT industry because once the product is finalized and it is already going live, now the client wants something different. They're not happy with us. That's why you see, like in before like 15 years, the project will be like shuffling from one IT company to another company, from IBM to CTS to TCS to Deloitte to all the companies. The projects will go from like totally the whole project will go away because they're not happy with the end results. But now in Agile, it's not like that. Every 2 weeks, the business owners or the clients, they're able to see some kind of like how actually this will in production. So they can, if they want to change something, they can tell you in the third week or fourth week itself. It's a very fast environment. So now we have a lot of pressure, right? In 2 weeks, remember, in 2 weeks, you will have only like 10 days. In the 10 days, someone has to develop the software, test the software, and also business has to like approve the software, and then it goes live in 2 weeks. Okay, it depends. I already told you in the interview, they ask you like, what is your sprint length? Okay, you have to say it can be in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks, but in my team, it's 3 weeks. Like that, you can say. Okay. So if you have experience, you can tell like that. Otherwise, you can say sprints can be in maximum like 4 weeks. I can work in a very fast environment because agile means fast. So waterfall means like slow, drop down, no up. Okay, and agile means it is like it's like a roller coaster. It's very fast. Do everything in like very short amount of time. That's why you see people now in IT are like getting very stressed, especially the developers, because they have to fix something, they have to develop something in a very short period of time. But this is like good for the client, for like the company, because they need not wait till like 6 months to see at least some version of the product. So that's a major difference between waterfall and agile. So only if your project is an agile methodology, only then there will be a scrum master. For waterfall, there is no scrum master. So that is like a standard team, like a regular team. Developer will be there, tester will be there, business analyst, manager will be there, offshore team leader will be there. That's all. But in Agile, you need Scrum Master because it's a very quick. In 2 weeks, you have to finish something. So someone has to ask you update every day. So manager cannot ask you every day because they will have multiple things to attend, and they may have more than one teams also. So for your team, Scrum Master will like literally he will be asking every day stand up call. Have you finished this one? Have you done? Do you have any blockers? Are you dependent on any other team? Should we ping that team's developer? Like so, every day's call. That is what we will discuss. So this basic understanding, if you're from non-IT background and you're getting into IT, you have to understand like in an IT company, there are very different roles and you need to know which methodology you're working. Every project will have a unique methodology. So whether it's waterfall or agile, mostly 95% now we are going for agile only. Waterfall is old fashioned. If you are in agile methodology, in agile itself, we have different versions. For example, like I can show you in agile itself, like for example, I can put this in the chat box. If you go to atlassian.com, they are the primary um, software development, like management application. They own the application called Jira and Confluence. So they are very well aware of this, what are the documents required for this Scrum team. So if you see here, everything is in detail. If you want to learn everything here, you can do it one by one first, but you need to understand the basics. So for Agile, under Agile, you have Scrum and Kanban and also different types of DevOps and all. We are not going to see all that. Only we are going to see Scrum and Kanban. Okay. Scrum, I have already told you. Scrum means, I'm going to show you now. Scrum means it's in small methods. For example, you will have sprint. So when you come to Scrum, you need to know what is sprint. I've told you it's a short time boxed period when a team have to complete their work. Okay, it can be in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks. Now, what is sprint planning? Sprint planning, and then we have sprint retrospective also. So that is at the end of the sprint, you will be discussing what you have done for the particular sprint. But these are the terminologies that they're going to ask you in the interview. What is sprint? What is sprint planning? What is sprint retrospective? What is the difference between Scrum and Kanban? So this is all they ask. What's the difference between Scrum and Kanban? So in Scrum, You'll have all these Scrum planning, ceremonies, backlog management, stand-up calls. Scrum Master will be there. So Scrum will have all these roles. Whereas in Kanban is also a form of Agile. Okay, let me show. But this is more for um, research projects. For example, here there is no timeline, there is no sprint. Okay, so if there is any Kanban project, you will not have sprint. You won't have like a timeline. You have to do something. Mostly they will give you the requirement and you have to do like maybe in 1 or 2 months, like that, not in weeks. Okay, so mostly this Kanban and all, like research projects, like for example, like if we have some like shoe brand, or we have some cosmetics brand, they want to do some kind of research. They will have a dashboard. They will be having all the team developers, everyone, but there is no like strict timeline on Kanban. That's a major difference between Kanban and Scrum. Whereas in Scrum, you will definitely have to finish everything in this sprint timeline. So it's a like in short timeline. Okay, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks. That's a major difference between Kanban and Scrum. Okay, next is, let's start about what are the roles and responsibilities of a Scrum Master. So we know that we are working in an Agile project. Now the project is there, and you are going to get hired as a Scrum Master. Interviewer is saying that you're going to get hired as a Scrum Master. So every day, what you will do? So first is you need to understand the Scrum values. So what are the Scrum values? So Scrum values in the sense, like, first, I'm going to click on roles. Okay, what are the 3 Scrum roles? Okay, so I'm going to come here. Okay, so first is transparency, empirism, self-organization, and then values. So what are the 5 values? This can also be important question. Where is this? Okay, courage, focus, commitment, respect, and openness. Okay, 5 Scrum values. Okay, this, if you're taking Scrum certification, all this will come as a question. Okay, so courage, focus, commitment, respect, and openness. So main problem is, since it's a very short time period, like I'll give you an example in real life, like what will happen. Okay, I said mobile company. Let's say that Apple. Okay, for example, Apple may have their own IT team. Okay, so they're giving some requirements, like in for upcoming maybe for summer, we are going to release a new feature in the Apple application. Okay, something like new. They want something new functionality. Now they are expecting you to finish that in 3 weeks. Okay, in 3 weeks you have to finish some kind of product, and it has to go live, the entire product. Okay, maybe this is an um, they want to do it now. Today it is March, right? So they want to do something. For example, they want to go live in May 1st. May 1st, they want something to be live. We have only like 1 month and maybe 10 days left. Okay. Now they're giving you requirements, a very short deadline. You have only 3 weeks for them to go live. So go live means, if it is May 1st, 1 week before May 1st, everything has to be ready. The final software has to be ready. Okay, so exactly you have something like with like 1 month left. So what will happen is, like, you have to gather requirements. You have to document all the requirements into stories, and then you have to make sure the developer develops it. Tester tests is, business owners finally reviews everything, and then this is ready before May 1st, like 1 week before May 1st. So we won't do till the last date. Always go live means the product has to be finished, or 1 week before that. Okay, only then we can go live on May 1st. It's a very short deadline. Now Scrum Master has to make sure that Scrum team members have the courage to do the right thing, in the sense, like, they know everything what they're doing, and they have to work on tough problems, because timeline is short. Your team, your IT team may be dependent on some other's team, okay, for some kind of data, or you're interacting with a third party vendor or an application. So maybe, so you're like, how can I do? I'm dependent on a different IT team. I have to wait until they do their thing. Okay. So then it's a tensed environment. Scrum Master has to make sure that we need to like focus on what is the exact problem, whom we need to communicate. So we need to have a very good communication skill, and then we need to make sure like you're bringing in the right people in the call. And if there is any blocker, the developer will escalate to Scrum Master only. He will not directly talk. If the business analysts, developers, and testers, they're having some issue with the third party team, or they're not able to communicate with the business properly, then they're going to pull you guys. So you will be like involving and escalating and everything. Okay. So when you're escalating, you need to be make sure you're doing that with respect. So you need to understand that everybody works for the same company, everybody are employees. So you need to make sure you are escalating with respect, not like in a very rude way. So focus is very important, making sure all the team members, they're doing the right thing. Commitment, like whatever date we have promised, we have to deliver the software. Also, we have to treat everybody with respect. Okay, whether they are inside your company or a third party vendor, or if you're like going to deal with like even very low level of even junior testers, anybody, okay, newcomers, trainees, whoever it is, we are going to treat everybody with respect. So these are some of these Scrum rules. So what are your roles and responsibilities every day? First, once the business analyst is the one who will be gathering all the requirements. So Scrum Master is not gathering any requirements here. Business analyst will be gathering all the requirements. Business analyst will create user stories, task, epics in Jira software. Okay, they will create everything. They will create all the user stories for that particular 2 weeks or 3 weeks. What and all work needs to be done, they will create a list and they will be doing it in Jira. So you don't do that, but Scrum Master has to make sure that this user story is completed within that 2 week or 3 week timeline. This task is completed within 2 week or 3 week timeline. This epic is closed within the 2 week or 3 week timeline. So a business analyst will create everything, but Scrum Master is responsible for closing of that, because if a user story is going more than 2 weeks or 3 weeks, so that means like ideally we are not completing that project. So, because then the developer may be like, no, I'm just waiting for some test data from that team. I'm waiting for some mock-up files from business owners. I don't know. I'm just wait. We are still testing. So they cannot give that kind of everyday status reports. If they have any kind of blockers, developers, testers, or business analysts, they have to escalate to you guys if you are a Scrum Master, and you have to you have to involve, and you have to make sure that blocker is removed immediately. Otherwise, you're going to have some delay in the go live date. So major focus, roles, and responsibility is everyday stand-up call, making sure that all the user stories and tasks and epics are closed at the right time. So every day you'll be bugging them. Okay, right? Every day stand-up call, you'll be like bugging them. Have you done this? You will ask the developer, have you completed? What is the status? If it is in progress, do you have any blocker? Tester also, you'll be asking, have you finished the testing? How long it will take to move the code to UAT? And business analyst also. So have you coordinate with the business owners for the final approval? Did you get the UAT sign off? So all this, you'll be like a lead, and you'll be like coordinating with everybody. So to become a Scrum Master, you need to have excellent communication skills, because every day you'll be dealing with a lot of people. If it's a very huge team, like 20-25 people, then you need to have a very loud voice, very bold voice, and you need to like actually know like what is happening in an IT industry, right? So if you're very new to IT industry, you may get like overwhelmed by the like a very first day, because so many people are joining, seniors are also there in the call, and you don't know how to navigate or lead this call, because you are a very new person. So you need to have some kind of experience. I won't say even experience is not even necessary, but you need to be very bold, because you'll be dealing with a lot of calls, you'll be leading a lot of calls. So you understand, this is like a team leader position where you have to like ask status every day to them. If they have any blockers, you have to escalate to the managers, not your manager, the other team's manager. Also, you'll be dealing with a lot of this escalation calls and everything. So if there is any issue in production, the first thing they'll do is call the Scrum Master, because developers, they'll be doing their own thing. Testers, they'll be doing their own thing. So Scrum Master is the one who'll be involved in all the calls with the manager, and all. Whenever they have time, they will come. So this is more of a lead position. So when we say like roles and responsibilities, you have to be very clear and telling the interviewer that I'll be like protecting the team, protecting in the sense there should not be any escalation from others from to your team. So you'll make sure that your team does all the work, They are able to complete all the user stories. They are able to complete all the epics. They are able to complete all the tasks in time. And also you need to make sure that you are following the Scrum values. Like I told you, what are the 5 values? Okay, courage, focus, openness, and also respect and commitment. So those values you need to follow. Because you're leading a team, you doesn't that you join the call and you blast at everyone and shout at everyone, right? That is not what we are doing. We are just following everything. We're following the Scrum rules with dignity. I've already told you, with respect. And then you have to remove the blockers whenever there is a tight finish line. So something has to go live and still you're not getting approval from the business owner. Still the review is not done. Still the product is in testing phase. Now, whatever is the problem, you have to jump in and remove those blockers. So this is the main roles and responsibility of a Scrum Master. Until now, like, does anybody have any questions? Okay. So next is, okay. Next is we have to know what are the Scrum ceremonies. Okay. What is meant by daily stand-up call? What is sprint planning? What is sprint review? And what is sprint retrospective? So let me log into Jira software so that you will understand what I'm talking about. Okay, let me now start sharing. Okay. So this is the Jira software. This is the tool that the Scrum Master will be using. Okay. So in this Jira software, it clearly says about like what are the backlogs, active sprints, and what is called as dashboard and all. Okay. So first, so there is something called 3 types of issue types. So one is story, and then task, bug, and epic. Bug means defect. Epic means higher level. Very, very high level requirements is called as epic. Story means like very small requirements. For example, if I say I create an epic call, like let me, okay, like for example, automation of, okay, let me, you're working for some bank, okay, automation of a check. Okay, so automation of a check. So automation of the check means like you can scan this through mobile and the check is getting processed. That's the project name. Okay. So you have a check, you need not go to the bank. Okay. And you can use the Bank of, let's say you're working for Bank of America. Bank of America is like their application, mobile application. And then you can like scan the check and it is able to like using the OCR process, it is able to like gather all the details from the check and it is able to process the check automatically and making sure that the amount is transacted into your Bank of America account. Okay, so you need not even go to the bank, you can do it at home. So that is a project we're talking about. So if that is a project, now that high level requirement is called automation of a check, that is called as um, epic, very, very high level. So for example, as a existing Bank of America user, I can scan the check and process it using my mobile application. That is my very, very high level. Okay. So you are not giving any fine details here. Okay. So you are just giving like very, very high level what you're doing. Okay. So I can scan the check and process it using mobile applications. A very, very high level. I'm doing it. I'm just creating it. So this is the epic. What is a user story? User story means like in order to scan that check, I'm going to now, like for example, I'm going to like issue type, I'm going to take it as a story. Story means, like I told you, it's like it is like smaller task than epic. Epic is on a very high level project. Story means, for example, like very, very every single functionality you're going to like do it here. For example, as a existing user, Bank of America's mobile application captures, like for example, like very like small details, let's say that. Captures very basic details like member name, member ID. Also, it is able to pull your account. Okay. So let's say that it captures member ID, member name. So you need to understand now on a very high level, business is telling that check is there and our mobile application is capturing the data, but like you have to divide that into small portions, right? Okay, now it needs to be a valid check. How to do that? So either it needs to like read some kind of barcode, or it has to like capture your first name or last name. Like for example, my name is means my first name and my last name. My that usually check will have like some kind of member ID or something. So that needs to be captured, right? So that basically by step we are dividing the whole project, we are dividing that into small user stories. First it will capture member ID, then it is going to capture the account information, then it is going to capture the amount, like how much it needs to be transacted, then it's doing some kind of validation whether whoever provides the check has the like the cash in their bank account. Then otherwise it needs to be bounced, it has to give you like insufficient fund in the whoever is given you a check. So that kind of validation needs to be there. Or if it is internal to Bank of America or it is an external vendor's check, that kind of validation needs to be there. So once all the validations are done, and then you understand that, for example, at the back of the check, whoever is giving the check, their signature needs to be there, or maybe your signature also. I think also need to validate or something. So with that, like primary validations all needs to be captured. If everything goes fine, only then the transaction needs to happen. So that the developer will do. Okay, so but you need to understand for that one functionality, you may have like 5 different stories. First, initially, they have to capture the member details. Next, they have to capture the amount. Next, they have to capture the signature. Next, they have to make sure that all the validation is, and this is the right member. And the person who gives you the check has enough sufficient funds in their bank. And so all this, like one by one, the business analyst will create the user stories. They'll put it in the dashboard like this. So the Scrum Master is not developing this. The business analyst is developing these kind of stories. But as a Scrum Master, you need to know how many user stories are in the backlog. So this is the backlog. Like there are 5 different business analysts. Everybody is going to create their own user stories, tasks, epics, and everything. So you need to know, as a Scrum Master, you need to know in your project how many stories are there in the backlog, right? Because the sprint timeline, I've told you, is a very short timeline. You can have thousands of stories here, but can every story be picked in the upcoming sprint? For example, next Monday, a new sprint is coming. Can all the team members pick all these user stories? No. We have only like very limited kind of developers, very limited testers. We are very short, very small team. Okay, so even though you can have 1,000 projects coming into your backlog, and the people are creating many tasks and user stories, but whether that needs to be done, or it needs to be in progress, or whether it needs to be, first of all, like whether it can be taken into account for next sprint, that we are doing in sprint planning meeting. So that meeting is called as sprint planning meeting. Before the sprint starts, for example, next Monday, the sprint is starting. This Friday, so today is Tuesday, right? So this Thursday or this Friday, you will have a meeting called a sprint planning meeting. So what is this sprint planning meeting means? We are going to discuss, like there are too many stories in the backlog, which one has highest priority, and which one the developers and testers have to take it for the next sprint. Okay, that we will discuss in sprint planning meeting. You need to understand that, because so what is the priority? We have only 3 weeks or 2 weeks in the development, right? So you have like 4 to 5 projects for your whole team. Can everything go live, or something can wait? So if the business analyst will know whether they have to wait or something has to go live, what is the which project has to go live and all. The business analyst will know. So they will tell you what is a priority and all. But as a Scrum Master, you will be leading this sprint planning meeting. So what you will do is you will call everybody, the developers, the testers, the analysts. If the manager usually won't be there, so you will be leading this call and you will open this Jira. You'll be handling. This is your like a Bible. Okay, this Jira software is your Bible then. So you will be like opening all these backlog items, and we will go through one by one. So in backlog, what and all is there? For example, to do, we have so many to dos. Okay, let's take one by one. What is the priority? Like that, you will discuss with the entire team, and you will make sure that what are the stories that needs to be like scheduled for the next sprint. Okay, Monday, these are the stories that will be assigned to you, that you can assign in sprint planning also. So but in different teams they have different names for this. Okay, sprint planning, sprint review. So for example, you can review in sprint review and plan. For example, like you can review all the stories in sprint review meeting. And once you know, like these are the 10 or 12 stories, that is what we're going to pick up. So in sprint planning meeting, you can just assign their names and all that, and you can give it to them. So you can divide. If it's a too much, if a backlog, you have 200 stories, you cannot finish in like in one call. So you can then do sprint review call. And then sprint planning means just picking up the stories. For that, you have one call. So it depends upon you. However you want to name, you can name it. But this is what they will be doing in sprint planning or review meeting. So basically, we are making sure that the user story is having all the details. Okay, the user story is able to, like, for example, if there is any particular user story, that user story has the description, that user story has the acceptance criteria, that user story has the story points, everything, all the enough details. That and all, like, you have to make sure that is there. While like planning or reviewing itself, you need to make sure that all the details in the user story is there for the developer to pick up in the next sprint. So any doubts in this Jira software? What is user story? Someone, if you're new to IT, please let me know.
Hi Pratibha,
Yeah.
my name is Pramila. So I'm new to IT. I'm from healthcare background, US healthcare.
Okay.
This Jira tool has been used like across the industries, right? It is not limited to IT. Right. If there is a healthcare BA project, so that time also we can
So
use this
healthcare
Jira tool,
BA
right?
means what kind of client you're talking about?
No, I'm right. I want to get into the US healthcare BA role. So
Yeah.
currently I'm into the operations, RCM operations.
Okay, RCM, right? But you want to get into RCM or you want to get into IT itself?
Healthcare IT.
Right. See, this is where people don't know exactly what's happening. So you are into RCM. You're working as what? Like in billing or
Yeah, I'm working as a senior manager here for the operation like USL.
yeah. So you were working in India or in US?
I'm working in India,
Right. So in India, in which location?
Mumbai.
Okay. So you want to get into you want to find a job in Mumbai, or you're finding something outside India?
And I'm trying to find in Mumbai or in India, like other than Mumbai also fine, but primarily preference is Mumbai.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking for healthcare IT, like into the BA role or
Right.
health.
So when you get into healthcare, for example, let's say that in Mumbai we have, I know there are very top companies, right? So RCM, I like think we have big companies there. Noida also we have Gurgaon. Most of the companies are there. But if you want to move into healthcare IT, remember US projects, okay? US projects, if you, I'm talking about only in US because I'm in US. So if you want to
Okay.
move into healthcare projects in US, basically it is an IT project for the healthcare company. So it can be insurance company. You know, since you are an RCM, you know that the insurance companies, like you have Cigna, Aetna,
Yes.
and you have like Mount Sinai Hospital. You have like different kind of hospitals.
BCBS. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
BCBS and all. Also hospitals like Centara, you have like, you know, right? All these kind of vendors are there. Okay, big hospitals are there. Since you're from
Yes.
India, I'm talking. Okay, if you're in India, the major outsourcing from US that is happening is only in the IT company for these kind of insurances. So you can say Cigna is a healthcare company, right? But what is the project that's being outsourced? It's an IT project. So IT
Okay.
project in the sense, some kind of software that is needs to be developed for Cigna, some kind of software for example, a mobile application for Cigna, a mobile application for Aetna. Like every company has a different um, softwares. They can do it in their member portal or a website, or they can do it in a mobile application. For development of that only, the project is being outsourced. Or if you are going to go for the hospitals inside Mumbai, I don't think they may have their own IT team. Okay, so you need to understand that when you become a healthcare BA, okay, when you become a healthcare BA, what do you mean? Because as far as I know, all this business analyst, scrum master, all this is in IT only. Or if you if you want to go to some kind of pharma companies, they may have some kind of research projects. But mostly, if you want to get into a business healthcare BA, means you're entering IT. That's the meaning.
Okay. Yeah.
You got it, what I'm talking about. So you'll be working in the IT sector for the healthcare company.
Okay. Okay.
So you'll be working for Cigna's project, but the project is an IT project. You'll be developing some software for them. Because
Okay. So
from
typically they give only some part of the software to be developed, not the
right.
whole, right?
So you won't
Okay.
you won't be like for example, I can give for example, that for coding the charts, you have a software, right? Like Citrix software, remember?
Yes, Citrix,
Right.
Epic, yeah.
Epic and all like. So Epic is a healthcare product software. Citrix is a healthcare software. So you may be in one of the projects like that.
Yes, as we are using those software for our medical coding.
Medical coding and all right. So don't think if it's a healthcare project means something you will be doing as something unusual. You will be working in IT, but the client is a healthcare company. You need to understand that.
Okay, okay, understood.
Understood? Okay. So you'll be majorly shifting towards from RCM to IT. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's very difficult to get a job in Mumbai.
Yeah, very less opportunities in my field.
Yeah,
That is why I want to switch my the domain.
right. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions? So I will continue the remaining part of the slide tomorrow, but I want to give like anybody is from non-IT or anybody has any doubts on what are these IT projects or what do you want to become? Do you have any doubts? You can ask me now. Okay. So I think if you're good, then we can continue the
Hi,
session.
Pradeepa.
Yeah.
I
Hi.
have one last question. Like, suppose if any interviewer asks like to describe a project,
Mm.
like because we may be transferring from non-IT to IT, so he may be expecting the same questions like describe a project which you have handled or you worked. So we need to give end-to-end because BA would be having only one part of the project, right?
Yeah,
So
but you need to know like they may so for example, like it depends upon what you're putting in the background check, right? So you for example, you in India, you will have to become like a full-time. There is nothing called as contractors. In US, you have contractors. But in India, you have um like you have to become a full-time employee. So in order to become a full-time employee, like what you're going to show it in your resume, what kind of background check they're going to do. That is very important before you say something in the interview. So, if you are going to put like 10 years of experience in RCM, are you going to show that experience or are you going to show that you have worked in IT? If you're going to
uh,
say that I'm going to show only my RCM experience and I'm going to go as a beginner, then you need not put any project or anything. But if you're going to go as
sometimes
an
we get the
experience,
what I tried is like I got an opportunity, so I'm trying to explain them as I walked into the IT sector, like for the development of the healthcare website or the app. So they would be asking the project like because what I'm trying to understand is what would be their expectations. Like I need to explain the end-to-end
yeah,
process,
end
like
to end you
or
need to
a
know.
single part of.
No. Business analyst needs to know end-to-end operations, like how exactly, like all the requirements, how it needs to be divided into user stories, how testing needs to run. You have to provide them scenarios and everything.
Okay.
So you cannot just say that I worked for only one person. You cannot tell that, because usually business analyst will be like they know everything about the project I'm from than the developer or the tester. So you are responsible for gathering all the requirements and documentation and everything. So you have to, like, if you say about any particular website, in and out of the website, how that web pages were created, what is the landing page, what is the navigation page, finally what is happening, why the business wants to do this, end-to-end testing, everything with scenarios you have to explain.
Okay. So in this training, can you just give an example by end of the day, on third day, how we can put it into the example for a
Uh,
project?
Healthcare
Example.
case studies, I think I have videos like 3 to 4 videos. Have you seen that?
Yes, I have seen those. But these were like only questions. So end-to-end project, like I did not found that uh,
I've done three
specific
to four
training.
case studies, maybe like my older videos have done some projects. If you want, you can see that.
Okay, I will relook those.
Hmm. Yeah, I will see, but because we have finished this and Tableau, if we have time, I can take a case study and then I can show it to you.
Sure, sure, Pratibha.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So others, what do you guys think? Like, are you good? Can we close the session for today? Okay. So I think we are good today. So tomorrow I'll be continuing the remaining slides, and then tomorrow we'll be finishing this course. And the third day we'll be doing Tableau training. Okay. Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you, Pradip.